right, hey everyone, I am here today making a black bean and corn salsa. If you're like me and you get corn on the cob in the summer, this is a great way to use up some leftovers. And it's also really nice to take to cookouts and barbecues, family parties, or even just to have as a side dish. When you want to have some more color and plants in your diet. So we have a couple of things here. First, we have canned black beans that are drained and rinsed. If you have any sort of digestive issues with beans, I always recommend rinsing them with really cold water until you stop seeing bubbles, and that will help remove some of the carbohydrates that are a little bit harder to digest. Now, beans are a great source of protein and fiber. These black beans have about 8 grams in a half cup, so that's equivalent of just about a whole egg. And in terms of fiber, there's about 5-6 grams per half cup, which can also be really good for your digestion. Now, you could truthfully use any beans that you have in your pantry, but I usually have tons of black beans, so I'm using them today. I also have some white onion that I've diced. Purple onions, also really pretty in this. If you are sensitive to onions, you could use onion powder, or you could skip it and throw in a bell pepper or something else to give yours, give a little depth of flavor. Then I have my cilantro. Again, I know some people don't like cilantro, so an alternative would be a green pepper, which also has some of that bite to it, but might be better for people who aren't big cilantro fans. And then we have some black pepper, salt, cumin, which if you've ever cooked with cumin before, you'll recognize this as the main seasoning in like taco seasoning packets. So it does give you that sort of taco type flair to it. And then you can use a lime or any sort of vinegar. I like apple cider vinegar or white vinegar for this recipe. So we're gonna start, we have our beans, and I'm just gonna chop up the cilantro nice and fine. I've taken it pretty much off the stems, which is sort of just a preference. You could absolutely eat the stems, but they are a little bit tougher to chew. So I just will give it a nice rough chop here. You can also do this in a food processor if you are having trouble chopping it up, or maybe you just didn't want the mess. You could do the onion and the cilantro in the food processor, and also would be a little more finely chopped. So I'm gonna just chop a little bit more here. And I'm gonna put it right in. And if you hear kids laughing, that's because my kids are home while I'm doing this, which is so often how I cook. All right, so then I'm just gonna add the diced white onion in here. And of course my hands are clean. And next we're gonna go to the corn. So this corn was cooked yesterday. It already has, I got some cilantro on it for my hands. And it's cold. You could, do this right after you've, finished dinner or whatever and you have the corn. But if it's hot, the beans will start to get mushy. So you do want it to be cold when you do this. Now, I use a serrated knife to cut corn off the cob. I find that's the easiest way to do it. And if you didn't have any corn on the cob, you could also use canned corn or frozen corn for this recipe. Now, canned corn will sometimes have salt added to it. So if you have the corn in your pantry that has salt, you may skip the added salt. Okay, so I'm just getting all the corn off. Now, this is a good time to talk about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates in general have sort of gotten a bad rap. But we need carbs for energy, and the best type of carbs are going to be those that have some fiber with them. And so the corn in this recipe and the beans both have quite a bit of fiber, and that will help slow down how quickly those carbohydrates are digested and move into the bloodstream. So when you think about blood sugar spikes or high triglycerides, what's driving that most of the time are going to be simple carbohydrates like flour, sugar, crackers, breads, pasta, rice that's refined will drive that. But carbs like this usually are not going to spike your blood sugar because they have so much fiber and they take a while to digest. All right, so we have our nice little strips of corn here. I'm going to break them up with my hands, or you could give them a nice rough chop. I'm just going to give them a nice chop here so that we can okay, I'm going to put it all in here. Okay, I'm going to do some salt, a little bit of cumin, and of course you'll have this recipe in your slides. Some black pepper, and then some apple cider vinegar. I'm going to grab a spoon here and give it a nice stir. You'll see all the colors come together. And again, if you have a purple onion, that's really pretty in this. If you wanted to add some heat, you could do a chili pepper or a jalapeno even. And if you wanted to have heat, but you didn't have one of those peppers around, you could add some chili powder, and that would be a really nice way to bring it together. Now there's no added sugar or added fats in this salsa. It goes well with crackers, tortilla chips, or I like to cut bell peppers like nice and thick and scoop it with those. One of the other things I love about this is if you bring it to a party, you can absolutely put some veggies around it or crackers, whatever you like, but it also could be a side dish. So if you're trying to eat a little healthier and you're finding you're at a party or something and there's not very much for you to choose from, you could have this as a side dish, and it's really filling because of all the fiber and the protein from the beans. So I hope you've enjoyed this and you'll try it. Again, you'll have the recipe in your slides, and let me know what you think. All right, everybody, have a great day.